political movement becomes too powerful, it also becomes standard operational procedure for the corporate deep state to infiltrate it and either destroy it from within, or capture it and use it for their own advantage. The CIA has done this literally thousands of times worldwide, spanning over many decades. If a politician cannot be bribed or blackmailed, the last resort is to neutralize the threat and install a more obedient puppet. Turning Point USA was no exception. A bright young spark like Charlie Kirk had all the potential to become a future president of the United States, but in order to groom him and keep him on a very short leash, it would require a sophisticated military operation, a hostile takeover of the organization, and to install assets into key positions. Once captured, the Turning Point movement would be encouraged to focus on engaging with inconsequential domestic issues, which maintained the left versus right construct while shielding the global wars of expansion abroad, and the lucrative flow of TPUSA money could be managed and maximized simultaneously so that the operation could fund itself via its own slush fund. But the real keystone was to insert a honey trap, a beautiful seductress who could be positioned deep undercover to influence and closely monitor the target. A technique which has proven successful for well over a century using highly trained and dedicated female operatives. This is a full-time job, but the rewards would eventually be worth the trouble. Charlie was worth around $85 million, with a life insurance policy worth another $30 million, all of which ended up in Erica Kirk's pretty little hands. And yes, she gets to keep the kids too. However, with many such operations, the people involved can be unpredictable, and notice the spider's web which has been silently woven around them. And Charlie Kirk was smarter than most. Not only did he grow suspicious of the vast sums of cash vanishing into thin air, he also grew tired of wealthy donors which had him bent over a barrel. But that wasn't all. The October the 7th event in Israel didn't pass the smell test, and Charlie began to ask questions. Was the Jewish homeland really under attack from neighboring terrorists, or had the world just been duped in a very cleverly orchestrated political theater? Had the military-industrial complex just whipped up a catalyst to trigger a series of wars to justify seizing vast territories across the Middle East, with the full backing of the good old US of A and her obedient and infinitely powerful military force? Much of the skepticism of such a war could be managed within the public and political arena, but when someone as influential as Charlie Kirk decided to oppose the war narrative, it spelled disaster for the expansion of the evil empire and all those who propped it up. Indeed, this would mean a code red situation. Charlie was offered an exorbitant amount of money to keep his mouth shut, but when he refused, there was only one option left. Such dissenters must be made an example of, and Charlie would be lured into a carefully laid trap where he would finally meet his fate, and the usual lone gunman narrative would be assigned to the patsy by the complicit media apparatus, all working together beautifully in sync to ensure that their egregious war crimes were not hindered or exposed to you, the people who pay for it.